It's Saturday, May 24, 2025, and another beautiful day. We've still got that north breeze though, so you can feel that air is cool. The sun is hot. There's almost no cloud, very, very high cloud. So it is a beautiful day. I think the bees will be able to take advantage of the really nice dandelion crop I've got going on in the yard. Here's a principle about dandelions. If you look at the hayfield, there's no dandelions. The dandelion isn't a very tall plant, so they don't compete with anything. They'll only grow in your lawn, or they grow in an area that you've mowed. So if the grass is short, I can see some coming up here in about 6-inch grass, but that's about all they'll tolerate. Once you get the grass down to a few inches, then the dandelions will take root and they'll come up in there. So there's a lesson for you. If you want a good dandelion crop, mow the grass short, particularly in the fall, so that it's short by spring. Okay, that's about all I know about horticulture, just from my own observations. So I'm here with my cell builder. There. I got the queen excluder thing put on the entrance. The bees seem quite happy. And we had a big discussion about this on Sawmill Charlie's bee chat last night. It was a really good discussion. He's been doing some grafting, and I think he's had some pretty good success. So we were able to compare notes. I could learn some things from them, and I could share the observations that I've made. So I've got my syrup jar ready. Here's my syrup jar ready. All I did with this jar, I don't stress out about ratios, is I just filled this maybe a little more than half with sugar, took it to the kitchen, poured hot tap water in it, gave it a stir, and Bob's your uncle. And I did put a little bit of that Hive Alive stuff in that. Who knows, right? There's a teaspoon. It says put a teaspoon in a half a gallon. It says put 2 teaspoons in a gallon, so it's half a gallon. All right, I'll keep that in the shade for no particular reason. I'm going to keep that in the shade. And I'm just getting ready here because when I made the cell builder, I put a notice out to my bee association, which has close to 150 members, offering them a pop-up queen grafting workshop. And I was clear, this is not a organized event. This is not a well-scripted event. All this is if you're interested in coming to my apiary and watching me graft a few frames or a few bars of queens, then you're welcome. So they should be showing up here within the hour. I don't think there's going to be very many. There was only 3 who responded. So it'll be a good time. Lexi will be back to see the graft, and I'm going to get her in particular to do a graft so that if she gets some takes, then she can say that she grafted her own queens and made her own bees. So thanks for watching. Sunday, May 25, 2025. And I'm out here kind of early. It is a Sunday, so I'm hoping to not have to do too much work today. But one thing that's been weighing on my mind is getting my dead out combs, which are largely feed frames, put away before the wax moths arrive. And I think the wax moths have arrived, but hopefully they haven't infested that yet. So I have to put that away, hopefully in the sea can if there's space. And then there's actually a few boxes that I want to cull or do frame repairs on. And since it's a Sunday, I may try to actually take some time off. Yesterday was a pretty easy day. It was long. We spent a lot of time out here. My voice was finished off by the time I was done the day. I talked a lot. But I think everybody had a good time. I certainly had a good time. I love having visitors in the apiary, and I love I love having people who think what I do is cool, because most of the time what I do is just work to me, and so I have to be reminded of, yeah, this is really cool. I really do enjoy it, but I have to be reminded sometime that it is actually really cool. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll pick it up again probably tomorrow. Thanks for watching. It's Monday, May 26, 2025, and I'm getting back to working on the cabinet. I haven't been documenting every step of this build. I've just been working on it in my spare time. So let me kind of show you what I've been doing. I've made a series of panels, and those panels are 3 sides, a top, and a pair of barn doors. This one is one of the barn doors. And so the construction of these is plywood. You could use 3/4, 5/8. It would be good. I like the plywood on the inside to be the structure. And then I put some edging around here and an inch of polystyrene in the middle, and screw that on there with my wide washers and screws. So here I'm starting with painting the inside of the cabinet. This is a primer coat, so this is going to take me a while, and partly the biggest effort in this is going to be this part. The whole cabinet is here except for this part. That's what I would call the right hand side as you're facing the cabinet, and it has the big heater box system on it, and it's very heavy. So I'm going to paint the insides of these. I'll perhaps get 2 coats on them, and then I don't know, I have to wrestle that thing out here and get a coat on it too. This little Earlex, E-A-R-L-E-X paint system, you can see I've used it quite a bit, and it's what you call a high volume, low pressure spraying system. It's just got the paint reservoir there, and it's literally a lot like a little vacuum cleaner that works opposite to a vacuum cleaner. The hose, when you turn it on, the hose is on the outlet, so it blows air out. And it moves a lot of air. It really moves a lot of air. So for that, it's a nice simple system. It's very easy to break down and clean up. It has a control here. You can move that this way and this way to make the spray go fan that way or fan that way. So it's very, very well thought out. And then there's a thumb wheel here to control the amount of paint that comes through the nozzle. You need to thin the paint. I'm just using a latex paint, so I just pour water in it. And I'm not going to tell you the ratios because I really don't know. I just fill that with paint and I just glug some water in, and each batch is a little different. And I could paint the plywood side of this with a brush and roller, but the polystyrene, you can't roll that on. It just makes a streaky mess. So that's why I want to spray it. And I thought, well, if I'm spraying the polystyrene side, I'll spray the plywood side as well. So that's what's going on. I spent the first part of today getting all of the polystyrene panels cut. And I measured out where all the screws should go because I wanted them to be in line and whatnot, because if you don't, like I don't have to, but if you don't do that, it looks like a toddler put the screws in. They'll be all over the place. So I was careful to put them in some kind of a pattern. So I'll do some spraying here and kind of show you how this goes. That's really exciting stuff. And for those of you who love watching my channel, I can leave the camera on this so that you can literally sit here and watch paint dry. This latex actually dries pretty fast. This coat is dry. So this will be dry in 5-10 minutes. And I can turn those over so I can paint what's on the bottom next. And as I do that, move them back inside. Get that big guy out here, paint the inside of that. Boy, that's going to be a lot of work. That's going to be a lot of work painting that big guy. But I have to do it. I really have to do that. So that's today. Thanks for watching. Painting is going well. You can tell it's going well because I'm covered in it. I'm just doing coats and letting it dry. The primer dries pretty fast, but I'll let it dry, do another coat, then turn it around. So there's a lot of that going on. But I thought, in the meantime, I'm going to take a look at something that I bought recently. I'll bring it up a little closer and I'll explain to you what this is. These are Lyson, or Lyson, some say, polystyrene hive bodies. It's a deep 10 frame hive body. And I've used polystyrene hive bodies a lot. And you would never guess that I would buy them because I complain about them all the time. But I think as a system, it's an excellent system because the bees do really well in polystyrene equipment. So I like what I'm seeing here. They screw together. They have a nice joint here, which I'll show you the detail on that in a second. So they have really long, what look similar to a really long drywall screw. How long is that? That is over 3 inches. That's 3.5 inches long. And anywhere on these boxes, completely unlike the Paradise equipment that I have more experience using, anywhere on these boxes where absolutely anything happens, there's a plastic insert. There's a plastic insert each place where I screw it together. There's plastic on the top, there's plastic on the bottom, plastic embedded throughout for strength and durability. All the frame rests are plastic. So I really am liking this so far. And the polystyrene seems much more dense than the Paradise equipment I'm more familiar with. This comes with a draw catch system. I don't think I'll probably be using it because I'm not using this as a system. I'm using it more just with wooden lids and wooden bottoms and stuff. I'll be using wooden honey supers. But if you're using this as a system, the bottom of the hive, there's some shorter screws here. So there's a hook here that you screw to this, and then there's a draw catch that sits on the bottom board like that, and that draws the two pieces together. And I can kind of see why, because I put one box on top of the other, and it's like a skating rink. It really skates around. So likewise, then the box has a draw catch on the box to lock into the other box like this. I could do that if I run a double. I don't know if I'll run a double or not. I might. If I run a double, then I'll put those draw catches on because I'm going to need it. They will slide around really easily. So let's show you one that's not assembled. I bought 6 boxes. I didn't buy any bottoms. I didn't buy any tops. I just felt that the wooden equipment that I have or that I can build will work. I'll have to probably build special lids that are longer because the depth of the sides is 1.5 inches. So that'll tell you what to expect overall. So I'll put those 2 there. I'll put those 2 there. Okay, so it has a rather nice joint that they've made. You can kind of see the profile of that joint right here. See, there's that plastic insert. And the sides, it seems to me that the sides are universal. There's no up and down to them. They'll fit in that joint the same. So this is the outside. There are no handles on the sides. There are handles on the ends. So this then fits together like that. So you can see that actually makes a pretty nice joint, and it should be fairly strong. So I'll put this together here. Now, one downside for me is these are Phillips head screws, and I'm not a fan, but one-time use, it's not so bad. And everything's pre-drilled. This insert is here. The insert is larger than the screw, so it doesn't bind there. You can't even see. So there's no guessing. There's no guessing as to how this goes together. I thought I'd better put this together to use my time wisely while I'm waiting. And also, I'm going to want to paint these as well. Oh, that's the way I want it right there. Pretty nice system. These are, I forget what I paid for them. They're, they certainly cost enough. But This is part of my outdoor wintering experiment. I hope to be able to winter bees outdoors in these with no further wrapping or anything. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Overall, I like them. So far, I like the construction. I like the density of the polystyrene. I like that there aren't handles. The Paradise ones have a lot of cutouts, a lot of fancy cutouts and stuff in them, and that makes the polystyrene thinner, which means reduces our value overall. And I don't really need a lot of handles on these because I'm not picking them up. I'm not picking them up with my lifter as a rule. So I don't need handles. I certainly don't need handles on the side because the boxes sit on my pallets tight against each other. So there. So that's 3 assembled, 3 to go. But I have to do more painting outside. It's Friday, May 30, 2025. It's 4 in the afternoon. I haven't been out before today. I've been not feeling well at all. But I wanted to catch up on a few things before the end of the weekly video. Got all my painting done. I worked at that all day yesterday. I was just exhausted. And not only did I paint all of that cabinet, I painted a number of my 6-frame polystyrene boxes. They were in need of a refresh. So that was a big job as well. So there's high smoke in the air, of course. Manitoba is on fire. There are cities up north being evacuated. It's just a desperate, desperate situation. The fires are nowhere near me. I'm in marsh area, not in forest area per se. So keep those people in your thoughts and prayers if you don't mind. That's a terrible thing. There have been in the past whole towns and cities leveled by wildfire. And today, I just want to catch up on the builder here. What is it? Friday, Wednesday. Wednesday I did another graft. I was told I could do a graft every 4 days in that builder to keep it going. So I plan to, but things are going to get pretty crazy because every 4 days I have to do each step and then they overlap. So Lexi came over again to graft a bar of cells, and I have not seen. I was painting all day yesterday. I didn't look, so I thought I'd bring you along and we could have a look at the builder and see how I did and see how she did. I always like to make my plans as far as how many queens I'm going to have in the offing. Tomorrow, I have actually a couple of novices coming by as well, and we're going to make some mating nukes for the queens that we grafted last weekend, which equal 25. So we need to make 25 mating nukes here. And that might be a bit of a stretch. It's going to clean out my apiary. I've been keeping all of these colonies that are just limping along. I've been keeping them alive just for this purpose, to make mating nukes. So we'll get into those tomorrow and see what we have. Let's take a look at this builder. I didn't mention it's 24 degrees C out here. It's pretty hot for Canadian. We really need some rain. The whole countryside is a big tinderbox. I should put my hat on. They're pretty gentle, you know. You hear people talk about how a queenless colony is so mean. Well, that's not so mean. Okay, so I have 2 graft frames. One and 2. This is the first one we did a week ago tomorrow. So we still have our beautiful cells here. Those are actually really nice looking cells. Building some comb. I don't find it a disaster when they build comb because the cells are actually pretty tough. I can get that comb off of there. There's one here that's stubby. It's not even capped. I should probably take that out. All right. Moment of truth here. There's bees all over it. That's good. I didn't do so well up here. I only have 2. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, I only have 9 cells in here. And Alexi got 2. So we could have done better. It is what it is though, right? Go to the next graft. I've got one more patty here they can have. Halfway through that jar. Well, it's always disappointing when that happens, but at least there's 9 queens there, right? It is what it is. And I'll just have to figure out where we went wrong. Were we selecting larvae that were too old? Or doing something else wrong? That's raising queens. It's always a question, always a mystery. What went right and what went wrong? All right, I'm still not feeling good at all, so I'm gonna make my way back to the house and I'll put this together for you to enjoy in the morning. I really appreciate you watching. Pray for the people in Manitoba that are threatened by the wildfires. It's just a terrible situation. Otherwise, take care and have fun.